Good Yantif, Happy New Year, Lashana Tova, Tikasei v'seichasem. So yes, is today a new year? It actually is. There are many New Years. Even in the Talmud and the Mishnah it talks about, it says Arba Rosh Hashanim Heim. There are 4 New Years. And more recently, the more common ones are Rosh Hashanah for the people, which is the 1st of Tishrei. Next known is Rosh Hashanah for the trees and Tu B'Shvat. And there are others for other various things. But this one that we're talking about today is the Rosh Hashana for Chassidus. It's a thing. It's a real thing. And we're here snowing in Cleveland. Anyway, on this day, the 19th of Kislev, the Alter Rebbe, the founder of the Chabad movement, was released from prison after being falsely accused by his opponents, by the opponents to the Hasidic movement and the Hasidic teachings. The Alter Rebbe understood this, his imprisonment, as a spiritual challenge to his mission of spreading the secrets of the Torah, the secrets of Chassidus, in such an organized and accessible way. And he also saw his release. It wasn't just a freedom, a physical freedom, but it was a stamp of approval from God Almighty, from above, from the heavenly abodes, that his path was not only just or justified, but that it should be amplified and continued and made bigger and stronger. So the Alter Rebbe took this and as a sign from God to continue and expand his teachings, which he did, and he called it the Rosh Hashana for Chassidus. And ever since, it's been celebrated as that, as a time of renewal for the transformative teachings of Chassidus. So it's not just a commemoration, but it's a new beginning. So it's Yud Tes Kislev, the 19th day of Kislev. All over the world, it's celebrated by Chabad, literally all over the world, and not just Chabad, by many Chassidim and Jews everywhere. In Israel, the president of Israel would come annually to the celebration in Kfar Chabad to celebrate with the Chassidim. His name was Shazar. I'm not sure what happens right now, but that's what would happen. So, we'll talk today a little bit about Chassidus and its impact on the world, and all my running commentaries are pretty much that. Today, Yud Tes Kislev is a reminder and a challenge to do things the Hasidic way, to be infused in the light. And what is that? Some of the messages of Chassidus. Number one is that we all there's a light in the Torah, there's a fire, there's a spark. But sometimes we suffice it to rely on somebody else's spark and fire. But the Alter Rebbe, the first Chabad Rebbe, taught that we should ignite our own spark. You have your own fire inside, and that needs to be ignited yourself. There was a chassid of the Alter Rebbe who struggled with this idea. One of his best friends was a follower of a different Rebbe, and he would visit his Rebbe once a year, and he would return completely uplifted and joyous, and it would last him a whole year. And this chassid of the Alter Rebbe was very overwhelmed because he was studying and praying, and he didn't feel like he was achieving what the other guy had. I want what he's having. So he finally approached the Alter Rebbe and said, I want a Rebbe who inspires me. My path is too hard. I want someone like his Rebbe. And obviously he was a chassid of the Alter Rebbe. The other Rebbe's name was Reb Chaikel something. at Reb Heikel Alter or something, Reb Chaim Heikel. The Alter Rebbe thought and responded. He said, Reb Chaim Heikel burns with holiness, and his light inspires others. But I want you to burn inside, ignite your own fire. And this is part of the essence of Chassidus. It doesn't just inspire us temporarily, but it teaches us to create a lasting internal flame. And how? Through personal study and personal reflection. What's the difference between a dead body or a body that's alive? Imagine two bodies are side by side, laying side by side. They both have the organs and the muscles. One is alive and vibrant, and one is lifeless. What's the difference? It's the soul, the neshama. The soul brings life and unity to every part of the body. Without the soul, the parts of the body are separate, disengaged elements. They're pieces. There's flesh, there's blood, there are bones and sinews. But when you insert a soul into the body, it brings life and unity to the body. And so too with the mitzvos and the Torah and Chassidus. When we bring Chassidus into our lives, into our Judaism, into our Torah study, it's the soul of Yiddishkeit. It's the soul of the Torah. It elevates everything, and it illuminates it, and it brings life to it. It brings vitality and life. The Alter Rebbe, his most famous book was the Tanya. He also wrote the Shulchan Aruch, the Code of Jewish Law. But the Tanya is a revolutionary book that organizes all the Hasidic teachings in a system. And in there, the Alter Rebbe teaches that the mind is the engine of our personality, or it should be anyway. And he explains that's hence part of the title. It's all in your head. It's all in your head. It's all in the mind. The Alter Rebbe explains that we need to focus and study and meditate, and that awakens and it creates feelings in the heart which go ahead and influence our actions. So if our mind is elsewhere, then it's hard to feel connected to God. But if you focus your mind every day, every single day, on the teachings of Chassidus, on the study of Chassidus, then you're empowered. And you don't need to wait for inspiration from the outside or have your emotions lead the way. The Hasidic teachings themselves are fire and power, but they need to be consistent. So we need to study Chassidus every single day. The Rebbe will talk about how the Hasidic teachings teach us that every single action is important, even the little ones. If you look at the Jewish law, the Code of Jewish Law, strangely enough, it tells us which shoe to tie first. Unbelievable. Who cares? If you bring meaning into every part of your life, that's what Chassidus does. Jewish law does that too, but Chassidus brings life and light to it. And unlike Kabbalah, turn around over here and go back home. Unlike Kabbalah, which Kabbalah does have spiritual remedies for spiritual struggles, Chassidus is not seen as a remedy so much, but more as sustenance. It's daily sustenance. It's food. We eat every day, we drink every day, we breathe every day. Chassidus is our food, it's our air. It nourishes us every single day throughout everything we do. So our goal is to really eat every day, to breathe every day, to drink every day, and Chassidus does helps us bring our Judaism and our life and to light when we study it. And the Alter Rebbe made it accessible to everyone. Alter Rebbe, and after him all the others starting from the Baal Shem Tov, made it accessible to everyone. In the Tanya, in the landmark book of the foundational book of Chassidus, he says, Ki karov elecha hadavar me'od. It's near to you, very near, for a person to act with perfection. You can't really control your mind and your emotions 100%, but you can do the right things. You can even think the right things. And this is one of the messages that he has in the Tanya, that it's accessible to everyone. Everyone, it's a goal that everyone can reach. Even me, even you. And on that note, the Tanya, we learn the Tanya every day. That's the Hasidic. It's one of the doctrines that the Rebbe instituted and requested. We learn Chumash, Tulam, and Tanya every day. And it's called Chitas. And Chabad.org makes it so easy. There are many apps. Also, there's a Chabad.org app called The Daily Study. I listen to it. I'm an audio learner. And I listen to the Tanya and the Chumash. And I say the Tehillim and the Rambam, everything through audio, through my earphones. You can too. There are many rabbis on Chabad.org. You can find your best. So the call to action today is really to start learning the Tanya every single day. A little bit of the Tanya. Find your best rabbi, find your best book, and learn the Tanya. And if not the Tanya, or in addition to the Tanya, there's so much more. Today is a resolve. It's a Rosh Hashana. It's a day of resolution. It's a new year to reconnect and to strengthen our connection, or to connect to the teachings of the Baal Shem Tov, founder of the Hasidic movement, the Alter Rebbe, the founder of the Chabad movement, and to connect with this day, with the source of life daily. Your body needs food, your body needs air, so does your soul. So you can start small with a 5-minute focused meditation or study. Even the Hasidic nigun. Music is very powerful. Even a little nigun, the Hasidic nigun, find it on Chabad.org or other places. Personalize it to yourself. Chassidus is not it is a one-size-fits-all, but it's a big world. You can choose what works for you. So I'll end with a little story over here. A lot of my recent running commentaries were inspired, at least partially, by Rabbi Shneur Ashkenazi from Israel, Rishon LeZion, Israel. He's a rising star in the Chabad world and everywhere. And he related this story about how the Alter Rebbe's teachings pretty much saved his father's life and more. And the story was that Rabbi Ashkenazi relates the story when he was 15 years old. So he was a young little boy. He was called into his yeshiva to the dean. The principal called him at like at 10 o'clock at night, and so this must be urgent. And he was called and told that his father just had a serious stroke, a brain stroke, and his whole family is being called together to come to the hospital. He went to the hospital. Rabbi Shneur Ashkenazi's father, his name was Mordechai Ashkenazi, I remember him in Kfar Chabad Israel. He was the Rav of Kfar Chabad Israel. He was a big man, mighty fellow, full-bodied, pure energy, and he fought world wars for the people as needed. He had no fear, and he was brilliant, one of the most brilliant scholars of our time. And he was sitting there on the hospital bed like a sack of bones, and miraculously he was paralyzed on one side, and miraculously he was still able to talk. And Rabbi Ashkenazi said that, interestingly, his father, who was this great halachic authority, he himself would wrap tefillin sometimes on his right hand and sometimes on his left arm, because he was ambidextrous, truly. He was able to use both of them simultaneously perfectly. So he wasn't sure if he was a right-handed or left-handed, so he would actually put on tefillin to both. So he says that perhaps the angel of death who struck him with this stroke didn't know which side the speech was on, and he left it intact. So thank God for that. Rabbi Ashkenazi was able to talk. Rabbi Mordechai Ashkenazi was able to talk, and he spoke to his family, and he was completely immobile. And one of their children was getting married in a month in Amsterdam, in 1 month. And he asked, his name was Laser, so he told his wife, tell Laser, send a note to Laser to go to the Rebbe's Ohel and write a letter to the Rebbe and tell him as follows. The Rebbe had told Ashkenazi many years before that he wants him to write commentary and books on the teachings of the Alter Rebbe. The Alter Rebbe was the first Chabad Rebbe about whom we're talking, and specifically the halachic teachings of the Alter Rebbe. Rabbi Ashkenazi had begun the work years prior, but the community service took all of his attention away, and he didn't do it. He didn't complete it. He was 52 years old at the time when this accident happened. Rabbi Ashkenazi said to his family, send Laser to the Rebbe's Ohel and write a note saying that if God gives me back my ability to walk and to function, I will dedicate my life to finishing the Rebbe's mission of writing the Ha'aras, writing those books on the Alter Rebbe's teachings, which was something that he was capable of doing like no one else. Rabbi Shneur Ashkenazi relates that 1 month later, the family deplaned in Amsterdam. His father was walking on his own 2 feet down the airplane, off the airplane, and through the length of the airport. Literally. It was with some help, maybe with a stick, but he did it. Miraculous recovery. And then he completely absolved himself of all the communal duties, and he dove into the books. And 20 years he served writing, studying and writing, and he published 5 extraordinary books that are used in the halachic world today during that time. So Rabbi Ashkenazi was demonstrating how the Alter Rebbe and his teachings and his Torah, of course, alongside the Rebbe's blessings, actually gave a lot of life and productivity to one person and to many others. He also related many, many stories about people who committed to learning Tanya, and suddenly their life was transformed in many ways. So this is a challenge and an opportunity for you and for me and for us all to reinvent ourselves on this Rosh Hashana, the Rosh Hashana of Chassidus, the 19th of Kislev. Recommit ourselves to the teachings and the ways of Chassidus. Chassidus is such a power. Every little bit can illuminate big darkness. Like a little light dispels a lot of darkness. That's talking about every mitzvah, but especially the soul of the Torah. A thought, a teaching of Chassidus, and also a custom, a ritual, a minhag. So find your way back, find your way Chabad.org is a great resource. God bless you, and good Yantif, L'Shana Tova, B'limud HaChassidus, B'Darkei HaChassidus. God bless you. It's also Parshas Vayeishev. I didn't prepare anything for that right now. Parshas Vayeishev. If you want to throw something in very quickly, it's the most famous, great thought on Vayeishev was that Yosef was struggling. He was 17 years old, orphaned by his mother. This is the Rebbe's take on this. His brothers hated him. They sold him. He was sent, he had challenges. He was sent to prison. And right there in prison, in the worst case scenario, he saw some people who didn't look happy. And he asked them, why are you so sad? And because of that, it changed the course of his life and Jewish history forever. He became the second in command to Egypt. The Rebbe says, get out of your own little bubble. See others. Help them in extraordinary ways. And extraordinary things will happen. Chassidim ein mishpacha.